Welcome back, everybody. All right, so we are on to the action part of our studio reorganization. You have a vision now, you have a general idea of what you want to do. And now it's how do you take that and make it actionable? So, the first thing and the hardest thing about any of these decluttering projects, whether the studio or anywhere, is you need to declutter. For me, that means getting things out. What was weighing me down were old items, old interests, supplies that didn't work anymore, organization things that didn't work anymore and got put into different corners, things like that. Things I was trying to repurpose that served a role for a short period of time but no longer served me. So this is where you have to be brave and honest and go in and clean out drawer by drawer, cubby by cubby, shelf by shelf, and look at things with a new perspective. One of the hardest things is for me to toss things that did have meaning for me before, but didn't anymore. And for example, partly finished artwork. And we all have that unfinished pile of art, right? I go through that unfinished art and I look at it and I say, do I want to finish it? And you might say, well, oh my gosh, I put so much work into it already. But do you really want to finish it? And if the answer is no, I am okay letting it go. If it was from a class that I took from an artist and I have a little bit to do on it, but I've gained what I needed to from this class and the project, and I really am not interested in finishing, I'm okay letting it go. I do appreciate what I learned in the class. It's not that I'm disrespecting the project at all. It's just that I learned from it and I appreciate it, and it doesn't need to take up space for me anymore. I went through glues that I looked at and they were just dried up, paints that were dried up. Those are easy. Get rid of those. You might have a whole big bin, but really only 25% of it is usable, of old different paints. I had a drawer set of pens, one of the wood drawer sets that got put into an old corner. And there were all kinds of pens in there, and I started testing all of them. Over 50% of them were dried out or skippy. And I made the decision to just dump the whole thing because that whole drawer set was sitting there for maybe 12 years, 10 years. And I decided, again, I was on a mission and I was being harsh. It was not worth my time to sit there and test 50 pens when the first drawer, over half of them were dry. So I decided to toss them. And, you know, I don't think that was wasteful. If it's something that really means something to you, yes, you can put it aside and go through it and take the time. But I made some harsh decisions about tossing things. And you could say, well, you could donate them to different places. I didn't feel comfortable donating unusable things if I didn't test them. I want to set up whoever I'm donating it to, I want to set them up for success and not just dump, half the stuff that doesn't work there. So decluttering is where all the grunt work comes in. I thought this was a good place to show you some in-progress videos that I took throughout my whole project. So throughout this video, I'm going to intersperse some of those so that you could really see the reality of what happened in this type of a project. I hope you enjoy it. Okay. Hey, my friends. So I am about, I don't know, I'd like to say midway through this project, but Probably not so much since I still have a lot of IKEA furniture coming in 2 days. But I wanted to show you the success for tonight is that I have cleared a wall. So what's going to happen? Things are all going to shift. That big cubby unit back there is going to shift into this big space. And then new furniture is going to go in the back. The count at the moment, I am probably 5 days in. Now these aren't full days. I'm working in the morning and then I'm doing the reorg in the afternoons, and I did a few hours on the weekends. So let's say maybe 5-6 days. The count right now is 4 really big boxes donated, and I think I'm on 6 or 7 bags of trash. It feels incredibly good right now to get rid of so much stuff or to get art supplies into the hands of people who can use them. They might be old for me, but they will be new for somebody else. And that feels really good. So right now I'm sweaty and tired, which is why I'm not reversing the camera on myself. But I am incredibly energized, and I'm hoping that I can get this project done in the next 5 or 6 days, because quite honestly, I need to get back to work, and I am just right now on a power mission. So I will update you soon. Bye. In my project, I had probably 8 to 10 full garbage bags of trash. Some of that was I had stacks of paper that part of it was bent up, half of it was marked. I had used it for 10-12 years, and I still had a ton of it left. I took half of that and put it into recycling. I took a whole bunch of paper and donated it. We have a place called Art of Recycle in Ephrata, Pennsylvania, that is a wonderful nonprofit who gives back to the community, gives back to teachers, has a reuse, repurpose store. I took 2 full carloads of donations to them. So, you know, and if you like to take all that stuff, and then a lot of it was resellable. I could have sat and maybe, you know, put things out on Facebook Marketplace or things like that. Again, that's not how I wanted to spend my time. I would much rather just take it to Art of Recycle and let them pay it forward to the community. But you could certainly make a pile that you want to resell in whatever form. So this is the hard work. There's hard decisions you have to make. There's it's physically taxing, it's mentally taxing. It tears up your whole house, because all of that stuff that's coming out of your space is going into a different space in your house. So declutter is where the magic is when you're doing something like this. Hello everybody. I'm here showing you my first load that I'm taking to donation. So there's a few things on top right there, and then I'm going to get to the floor, and there's bag after bag after bag. And I will tell you that a lot of this stuff is really good. It's great art stuff. It's great creativity stuff. There's some extra class supplies. But, you know, I've moved on to something else. I've used it in so many projects that I'm sick of it. There's, you know, many things in here that would be fantastic for other artists. There's a lot of scrapbooking stuff, which I don't really do anymore. I was keeping some sets and things like that. All this little teeny tiny ribbon that I don't use anymore. So really, really good stuff. And I'm so excited to get it in the hands of a place that can use it. We have a place called Art of Recycle, in Pennsylvania, Ephrata, Pennsylvania, and they are a nonprofit. They do all kind of great community things, and they also have a whole floor for teachers. So I am super excited to get this into their hands and let them pay it forward to others who want to use it. I am also standing back and thinking, this is all taking up space in my studio, and I've now freed up that space. Who knows what's going to fill it? I'm going to have plenty in there. But I'm just really, really excited to get this first batch out of my house so that it can be loved by other creatives. I didn't do a video for the second carload of donations, but I at least got a picture of it here. It filled up the whole back of my car, and I was happy to get it to Art of Recycle. So 2 full carloads, and Art of Recycle is super happy to have some great stuff. And now we can return to our discussion about decluttering and the hard work that's got to get done. Once I got all of that, I'm going to call it trash, but it wasn't all trash. Once I got all of that stuff out that no longer served a purpose, I was able to look at what was left. And that's what, I take what is left and they get sorted into their zones, so that I can see if I saved space for this zone and there's tons of stuff there, well, I know that that zone isn't going to fit what I've got left. Maybe I flip it with a different area. So that's the 2 major physical pieces of decluttering, in my opinion. The clean out, the physical declutter, getting rid of, and the sort that comes after that. And then you can see that everything is going to fit and or adjust or wherever. I will tell you that in my clean out, I lost my whole foyer and my dining room because I also had to put furniture together. So I needed to be able to get things physically out of my studio so that I could put furniture together, put that furniture up on the walls so that things could then go back into their zones. And that's really what forced my hand. I had mentioned in the early video that this was going to be, a month-long project. It was reserved for March. All of March was reserved for studio clean out. The reality of my situation was that once I decluttered and once I made the decision and got the new IKEA furniture into my house, I had to move everything out of my studio to put the IKEA furniture together. And that meant that I couldn't work. What I was hoping to do was work in the morning and then organize in the afternoon. Once my studio got to a point that I couldn't work, I had to be on it. I had to make the decision that I was going to sacrifice a week and a half of work because I couldn't do anything. It was just chaos. And I mean chaos. And that forced my hand. I had the foyer, the dining room all filled in. We had a little teeny tiny aisle to walk between. In fact, I'll show you the video on that. We had a little tiny aisle to walk. And then the furniture got delivered in the IKEA boxes, which if you've done IKEA before, it's heavy. There's a lot of boxes. That took up 25% of my foyer. Also, we couldn't really walk around. I had to just get it done. Sometimes you get faced with something like that and you just kind of have to roll with it, but be aware that this kind of uproots, depending on your time and your task that you're trying to get done, it will uproot your house in some form or another until you can get it all back in order. Hi, everybody. I thought I'd get on camera before I get all sweaty and into the next phase. I just took the full carload of the first set of donations to Art of Recycle. That felt really good to get it out of my way and out of the house and out of the studio and in good hands for somebody to use it and love it. So I'm getting ready to start the next set up. Tomorrow, all of the rest of the IKEA furniture is arriving. And I've got to get some room to put it all together. So if I switched my, well, I guess it's not going to let me switch my camera around. Okay, so I'll just do it this way. So all of that stuff in the center of the room right there, yeah, I need room to build furniture. And I got to get it all out. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going piece by piece, cubby by cubby. I really am not hitting my wall of shelves. That is actually pretty organized. I will be rearranging the shelves, but new ones I had to order more, and they're coming in tomorrow, maybe. So tomorrow's furniture, half of my sit-stand desk is here. More shelving's coming. So I have really got to get this mess ready so that I could build furniture, so that I could start putting all the things back together, which is also the fun part because I get to reorganize and it's going to look nice and pretty, I hope. I'll be honest, I'm a bit tired. I didn't get to sleep till after 2:30 last night. I went to bed normal time, but my mind was just completely wired and to thinking through everything and where do I want to put things. Yes, I'm geeky. I like this type of thing. It's exciting to just freshen up my space, and it's also inspiring to go through so many different supplies and things like that and remember why they're in my studio and all the things that I want to play with. So I am itching to get back. Right now we are, I don't know, I'm about maybe 6 days in. Those aren't full days. I am now working full days start to finish. And my goal is to be done with all of this in the next 4 days, because when it comes to Monday, right now it's a Wednesday, when it comes to Monday morning, I need to get back to work. So I am on a mission. Keep watching and we'll see where this goes. Bye. All right, here's another update. So I've reshuffled all the shelves on the wall. Everything's kind of been off and on and off and on. I've got a nice big open space and a big old blank wall that in probably about 5 hours will be taken up. Starting to place things in their zone. As I've been working, I'm just trying to think of where I want things to sit. I have business binders, I have paper crafting, I have Zentangle, I have mixed media, bookbinding. Just as my creativity has changed over the years, so do my interests. And I'm just trying to get all the tools for each of the specific things, at least somewhere in the close area, plus still have room to design classes and teach and all of that stuff. So about 10 minutes ago, all of the IKEA boxes have arrived. There they are. I speak IKEA. I can put an IKEA thing together in my sleep. Love the flexibility of it. And also, just so you know what's really happening behind the scenes, this has been my house for the past week. So my dining room table has just been absorbed with stuff as I clean out and move out. And then in the hallway to get into the living room, you have that little tiny path right there. And this is not an area that you want to run through, because you will stub your toe on something that will hurt really bad and not even feel bad about it, because there's some heavy stuff out there. So this is what has been going on. It's just the reality of this level of clean out. Not every reorganization that I've done is this detailed. I haven't done this major of an reorganization in a good 10 years maybe. So it was much, much, much needed. I am incredibly pumped to get everything back together. I am quite tired. but in a good way, in an excited way. Starting to get a little panicked because I really do need to get back to work. So right now it's Thursday, and my goal is to be done and back to work by Monday. Now that I've got my delivery and I can start making progress, I may even have a goal to take Sunday off and just play and read and rest. We'll see how that goes and how much my energy holds out. But that's where we are. Thanks for following along with me. See you next video. Bye. Okay, here we are at the end of the day of IKEA building. It has been a long day. Doesn't seem like it put together that much furniture, but it was a good 5-6 hours. Pretty solid, but they look pretty. Lots of space. I've started bringing in some things, putting in cabinets, starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel, but there's still a lot of things to be put away. It feels tremendous, but I think I'm going to go to bed early tonight. And tomorrow, I think I'll start to see some major progress and maybe get my house back at the same time. So there we are. Good night, everybody. All right, so a couple personal tips that I've done in my studio space. If you're looking for, there's so many ideas out there. If I'm sure you can Google and different things about how people set up spaces, especially for tangling with pens or drawing or things like that. I've seen people take tubes from Pringles cans or toilet paper rolls, the centers, the cardboard circles, paint them beautifully, glue them together, they look great. Cans from like soup cans and things like that, they cut the top and bottom off and they paint them. They're beautiful. There's all different kinds of repurposing DIY things like that. One of the things that I did is, because I didn't want big, deep furniture on the one wall where I have all the grids, I got 2x4s, went to the hardware store and just got regular 2x4s and painted them white and put them on, I had little pegs for my grids, so they just sat on these little pegs. Well, 2x4s were perfect because they didn't take up much depth, and they are perfect to fit pen cups and pencil cups, just simple acrylic pen and pencil cups. So I was able to put 2x4s up on my grid system that you guys have already seen in the videos with the little pegs to hold them. And I was able to put my cups and the pencil cups right in front of me in that prime real estate space without taking up a full depth of a shelf. The problem for me in prime real estate space, putting a full shelf, is that now you've got pencil cups, the front row, the middle row, and the back row. So to get to something in the back, I had to shuffle the front two to get to things in the back, and it took too much space. I wanted one simple row that had held one row of cups so that I could easily get in and out as much as I needed to. So that worked for me in there, is just a simple 2x4, and you can take angle brackets and glue that to screw that into the wall or whatever. It doesn't take much weight on there, but that was magic for me for years, and highly recommend that. My grid system I've talked about before. Again, because I didn't want to take up depth in the studio and I wanted flexibility, I did the whole grid system up there. Those do not have to be hung on the wall. They can stand on the floor, but the feet took up way too much space. So that's why I hung them on the wall. If you're interested at all in the grid system, I purchased them from a place called Gershel Brothers. That's who I've used for probably 15 years when I was doing art shows. That's where I would get a lot of my booth setup things. But this is where I went. I'm sure there's plenty of other places that you can get them. Be aware though that there's something called a grid wall and there's something called a slat wall. I'm using the grid wall and the accessories that go with that. So at least this gives you a place to start for if you're interested in looking into something like this system. For me, I like to keep things by brand. So I know that some people will say, well, they put all their red pencils together, their yellow pencils together. I think that looks gorgeous. And if you're one of those people, kudos to you. For me, I tend to keep things by brand, but I have all my watercolor paints together. I have all my colored pencils brands together, but they're sorted. So I have my Prismacolors in an acrylic container, easily pulled, and then I have my polychromos together, but all of my colored pencils are in one section. I think the main reason I do that is because I plan classes. And if I go into something and I grab it, I want to be able to tell people what I grabbed and what brand it was and what color it was. And I try to just at least be mindful that when I have my teacher hat on and I'm planning, I need to be more mindful of what I'm grabbing from my studio so that it's a common thing for my students to use and all of that. So that's how I do it, but you can certainly change things and sort them by colors. You can sort it however you want. And that's part of thinking through how you want to organize and what works for your style and for your lifestyle and for your habits. Okay, so I think that's it for now. We'll go on to the next video. Bye. Good morning, everybody. Well, we are coming down to the wire. I am at Saturday morning right now, after several long days of refilling my studio. This is kind of where we are. I still don't have my main desk in here. It's still just the folding table. But things are getting put away. I'm loving the space that I have. I'm realizing that I could use a couple other different things. When I started this project, I ordered a whole bunch of different size bins. And I've been really hitting them hard, but I have a lot left over. The plan eventually, I think, is going to take some of the baskets that I have up on the shelf and change them into clear bins so that I can see. I've been very much repurposing things as I went through, and this time I'm trying to be a little bit more thoughtful. So you can see that my shelves I rearranged. I'll talk more about this at the end when you can see the before and after, but just to let you know that I am still working. I'm putting things together, and this morning I spent a couple hours starting to set up my display shelves, which is what these 3 cabinets were meant to be. My favorite things, inspirations from other people, different artworks. I decided to put them all in one central place so that I can enjoy them. And they don't, I'll still spread them around the studio also, but super thrilled with where this is going. By the end of today, the goal is to have 90% of everything put away. And then I will put together my sit and stand desk in the center. And then I am hoping that tomorrow, Sunday, I take a rest day. Maybe I play a little bit, read, whatever I need to. And then Monday morning, it is back to work. But there we are.